Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I am your host and CEO of Vitality OET. We are a women's health, nutrition, and fitness company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and onwards. We know that so many women struggle with so many things during this time in their life, whether that be hot flashes and night sweats, irritability, brain fog, but also weight gain around the middle that seems to have come out of nowhere despite you changing nothing. So then you go back to your regular ways of trying to lose weight, whether that's cutting calories, cutting your carbs, doing a ton of cardio. Yet this time, it seems like nothing's working. You're working extra hard, eating a lot less, putting in a ton of effort, and just not getting the results that you feel like you should be. You end up feeling a lot worse, and then maybe you end up gaining weight, which leaves you feeling so frustrated, so hopeless, and that is one of the worst feelings. So our goal and mission here at Vitality is to teach you about how your bodies are changing in this period of your life, because now they are inherently different than how they were before. That way you can finally live a life full of vitality, reach those health and fitness goals that you have, feel at home and in control of your body again, and really understand how to take care of this new body of yours, because again, now it is different because of the changes in your hormones. So today what I want to talk about is how your brain changes during perimenopause and menopause, because this is something that a lot of women start feeling and struggling with, whether that be brain fog and irritability. They feel a lot more moody, quicker to snap. Maybe they start feeling depressed and they've never had issues with depression in the past. Really forgetful. They get lost for words. And this is actually because of physiological changes that happen when you have fluctuations in your hormone levels. So one thing is stress for sure. So many things are going to contribute to stress, right? So it's not uncommon to forget the simplest things. You're just not feeling like yourself. You kind of feel like you're going crazy. Maybe your phone's blowing up. Your boss is driving you crazy. Family is just very busy and stressful and driving kids wherever. Maybe you have a rebellious teenager. You're rushing to get meals done. You're not sleeping well. You're just go, go, go all of the time. And of course, that also is always going to influence your ability to make sound decisions, react appropriately, and just definitely affect your cognition in general. But like another thing too is like losing your words. Super common. This happens to me all the time. But this can be a lot worse once you hit perimenopause and menopause. And it just sucks. Then you start like doubting yourself. You're worrying about like your health. You have all these changes happening. And then you feel poorly about yourself, but then you feel guilty about feeling poorly about yourself. And it's just like this vicious cycle of like, what's going on? I just don't feel like myself. I don't know like who I am anymore. The things that I love to do, I don't love doing anymore. And like maybe you're losing your like joy and zest for life. And it's just like day to day is just a struggle. And that's okay. It's something that actually happens, again, during this time in our life. So let's talk about it. 2 out of 3 women will experience brain fog or forgetfulness during menopause due to the fluctuating levels of hormones that go through your brain. So again, it can seem like we're losing our minds, but you're not. So we're going to talk about all of this stuff today. And hopefully you'll feel a lot better about yourself and feel a little bit more comforted and get some good tips on what to do moving forward to help you through this time in your life. So let's talk about what happens. These symptoms start in our brain. Our brains are in direct communication with our ovaries via what we call the HPG axis. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritties of that, but basically it's just how the body, like the brain and your ovaries interact. So we know that we're born with our ovaries and all of our follicles at birth, and we have 3 different kinds of follicles producing estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. And once we pass that reproductive prime, we're going to find that these cells or these follicles just aren't good at producing hormones as much anymore. So we start to see these big fluctuations. Some days we'll have lots of one hormone, the next we might have none. And this just happens as they die off and weaken. So as we start to see that decline in the production of those female hormones, the brain and the way it functions is actually going to be directly affected because of that, because we do have receptors for estrogen in our brain. So if estrogen levels are fluctuating, that's going to affect all the places where estrogen has receptors, which is actually a lot of places in our body, but the brain is the one that we're going to specifically talk about today. So again, it's going to affect our brain function. So what's happening is there's actually just a disruption in the chain of biochemical activity. So one of estrogen's main responsibilities is to help in the maintenance and regulation of network integrity in your brain. So think of your brain as a bunch of highways, and it's just helping keep the flow of traffic good, making sure all the highways are being used well, helping like repair any issues, all that kind of stuff. So think of your brain as highway, these neural pathways. So when estrogen starts to decrease, we lose some of the ability within the hippocampus, the part of our brain that plays a major role in memory, learning, and emotional regulation. So those particular highways aren't as strong anymore. So we have this thing called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is BDNF, and it's closely associated with those areas of brain function. So the memory, the learning, and the emotional regulation. So there was a study done on more than 200 women who were between the ages of 45 and 55. And they reported the levels that were associated with verbal and associative memory in menopausal women. So they were checking that BDNF that I just mentioned. And apparently it did show that you have a harder time with memory and the ability to connect the words that are in your head and get them out through your mouth. So like getting a stimulus and trying to get those words out is a lot more challenging. And this is because estrogen is going to interact with BDNF in the brain to promote that neuron health. So both estrogen and BDNF help stimulate neurogenesis, which is the creation of new neurons. So creating new bridges, creating new highways, creating new roads, which are going to help with the brain and the hippocampus to help improve memory, learning, and emotional regulation. So it's like there's less highways being built or stimulated, less places for those cars to go, the signal in the brain, which is going to affect those areas. So again, as estrogen fluctuates and declines, your brain loses that stimulus. So we're not sending as many cars down those roads. We have less roads for those cars to travel down. So there's going to be less stimulation, less neurons constantly firing, and that's going to lead to things like mood swings. You can have feelings of panic or anxiety, feeling very angry. And it's not that you're going crazy or all of a sudden you're really depressed. It's things that are actually happening because of your hormonal changes. And again, these are very common symptoms that are seen in women when they start going through perimenopause and menopause. So another study was performed in pre- and postmenopausal women. They did different memory tests and verbal tests, so memory and cognition, and they did it leading up to menopause and after menopause. And what they found was that in women in that year after menopause, they had a much harder time with verbal learning and memory in general. So again, this is because of those estrogen levels decreasing and then they stay low and they level out there. But then everything gets better after that first year. So you feel the worst effects that year after menopause. Then your body adapts, learns how to use different neural pathways and stuff like that to improve. So it's a temporary thing. Do not panic. It does not mean that you're going to get dementia. It does not mean that you're going to have Alzheimer's. It is, again, a physiological change that happens, but it will improve. So knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel can be very, very hopeful as well, and just give you hope, give you more grace. So you're not so hard on yourself. You're not feeling as embarrassed. It's literally what's happening. Again, people call it menopause brain. It's true. It's your brain changes during this time in your life. But then we have to think about everything else that's going on in our life at this time, because then we're adding physical changes that are also going on at the same time. So our body composition is changing. Our hair might start to thin out. Our skin isn't the same as it used to. We're dealing with vaginal dryness, issues with your sex drive. And all of those things can really take a huge toll on your self-esteem, your confidence, your well-being, toss in the cognition stuff, and you can feel really, really poorly about yourself. So there are tons of ways to help reduce the severity of these symptoms, and HRT can be an option to help mitigate those as well. So we're going to go over some of the things that you can do here. First is begin your health and fitness journey. Focus on your overall health and your well-being. You want to go into postmenopause as strong and as healthy as you can. So improving your nutrition and movement quality and being active has been statistically shown to provide an array of benefits for menopausal women, both for cognition, for body composition, for health, for blood sugar control, for thyroid function, for cortisol levels, all of these things, which are all going to have an impact on everything in your body, your metabolism, your ability to lose weight, and just be healthy in general. So reducing stress is going to be one of the most important things. And I know this is a very common theme within the podcast and something I talk about all of the time, but it's incredibly important. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and it is going to actually steal estrogen when stress is high, as well as your progesterone. And it's going to affect your estrogen levels. And as stress goes down, estrogen can come back up or balance out to the levels that it needs to really help mitigate these symptoms that you're experiencing. So stress is going to make it a lot worse. Like we talk about how you'll have really high highs and really low lows when you're going through this time in your life. And if cortisol stays high, it's going to make those fluctuations really high. If we can bring cortisol down, the highs won't be so high, the lows won't be so low. You're going to be in a nice range where you're not going to have as many symptoms and you're going to feel so much better. And again, cognition is going to be influenced as well, which is really important to note. So again, stress management is so vital in this time in your life. So creating time to de-stress and stick to it is honestly essential for your success. So taking just 5 minutes out of your day to literally lay down, focus on deep breathing, put your feet up on a wall to help bring blood flow from your legs back to your gut to not only help with digestion, but it brings cortisol levels down. It forces your body to go into the rest and digest portion of your nervous system instead of fight or flight. Because in today's day and age, we are constantly stuck in fight or flight every damn minute of every damn day. So what you're seeing is like you wake up, first thing you're doing, checking your phone, chugging coffee, probably skipping breakfast, rushing your kids out the door, maybe working through lunch, or maybe you're having like a super sugary snack instead. Those donuts at the snack table are very tempting. You're working through your lunch hour. You're super stressed with finances and work and deadlines. And then you're rushing out the door, trying to get your kids to activities they need to go to. Then you come home, realize there's poop on the floor from your dog. You're exhausted. Someone asks you what's for supper. You want to strangle them. You're rushing around again, just trying to get laundry done and figure out dishes and all these things. Maybe pack your kids' lunches for the next day. And then you maybe get 5 hours of sleep. You toss and turn. You have hot flashes. You have night sweats. You wake up feeling absolutely exhausting, and then you repeat the day. That's a pretty common cycle for most women. And doing your low calorie, your low carb, your crazy high intensity exercise is just adding more and more stress to an already stressed out body. And that's not going to result in great cognition. It's not going to result in great food choices. It's not going to result in your body wanting to lose fat. So doing things to help with stress management is going to be so important, just getting your body out of that constant state of fight or flight. So again, 5 to 10 minutes once in your day, at least once in your day, whether that's reading a book, listening to a relaxing podcast, listening to some music, focusing on some deep breathing. If you like journaling and meditation, you can try that too. Maybe doing some stretching and yoga, going for a light walk. You're not walking to exercise, you're walking to relax. That's a very different experience depending on what the purpose is of and the intention of that activity. So this is very important. So there are some adaptogens that can help with your cognitive function as well as stress reduction outside of taking HRT. Things like ashwagandha is very calming, but for ashwagandha, you do have to be careful if you're on thyroid medications. You do want to talk to your doctor first because there is some contraindications there, just the way things are paired up and how they influence each other. But there are so many different adaptogens that you can use. They can help normalize the release of your stress hormones and improve cognitive function. However, if you're never taking actual time to relax and breathe and slow down and be purposeful about it, no amount of adaptogens or supplements are ever going to help you with that. It's important to know HRT can help you, especially if your symptoms are really severe. It's great to talk to a practitioner about to help you with those levels, because if those kinds of symptoms are keeping you up at nighttime, you're not able to sleep and things like that, it can help just get the ball moving so that you can start doing things to improve your health. However, if you're still eating less than 1,500 calories a day, you're not eating a minimum of 130 grams of carbs a day, if you are doing crazy amounts of exercise and you're not focusing on sleep, no amount of medications and supplements and adaptogens are ever going to help, because it's like trying to put a turbo on a crappy engine. It's not going to get you anywhere long term. If you fix the engine and then add a turbo, that can help a ton, and it's going to help with longevity in the long run. But just trying to take supplements to try and have an easy fix, it's not going to do much for you. The next one is to take inventory of your life and commitments. Oh, I should mention too with HRT, Great for symptom management, does not do much for your metabolism. So if one of the main issues that you're struggling with is weight gain, HRT can be great to help with symptoms, to help improve your sleep and stuff like that. But if we're not addressing your metabolism, which is the root cause, HRT won't actually help with like weight loss, weight gain, unless you're like severely undersleeping because of like night sweats and hot flashes. That can help because then it'll bring your cortisol levels down, things like that. But still, you need to make sure that we're actually addressing the root cause of the symptoms going on. If you need help with that, just message me. I'm always happy to help. Shoot me an email. Messaging me on Facebook is always the best way. That's where I check messages most. So you can find me at Stephanie Fusnick for that. Okay, next one. Take inventory of your life and the commitments that you currently have. We cannot prioritize everything. I know we're used to being superwoman, supermom, mom taxi, but there is something so important for learning what you can let go of and what's actually a priority for you. What is actually important? How can we simplify your life? How can we make it easier for you to actually enjoy the process, to actually live your life? What are the things that you can pawn off? Is it dishes on someone else? Is it getting someone to help you with laundry? Is it someone to take the dogs out? We have such a hard time asking for help, especially when we're caregivers and we're always like the nurturer in the household. It can be incredibly challenging and so hard to ask for help. But what's the worst thing that could happen if you ask for help? Honestly, think about 2 things that you could potentially get someone to help you with and just ask them and say, I am struggling. I am dealing with so much. I'm exhausted. If you were able to help me out with dishes, that would help me so much if that could be something that we could toss on your responsibilities. Awesome. People in your life should be willing to do that, especially if they can see you're exhausted and on the verge of a breakdown and in tears and just not doing well health-wise. They should say yes. Those people are the people you want in your life. The ones that don't get it, that's tough. And then that's another thing you got to take inventory of. The next one is organizing and scheduling your life. Time blocking is huge. This is something that I use, and I treat it as an appointment with myself. Can I move those blocks around? Sure, but I try really, really hard to stick to my schedule. It makes things so much easier. I have in there our family coffee time in the morning. When we go visit Taylor's family in the morning, we have coffee, which is so great. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's in there so that if it is able to happen, it happens because it's important to me. I schedule in my workouts. I schedule in my appointments. I schedule in when I'm answering social media. I schedule in my podcasting. I schedule in like grocery shopping, meal prepping. I do my best to schedule everything in because if it's written down, then I know I can get it done. Like that's how that helps me and calm me down. Because if it's written down, it's going to get done. I'm not going to forget about it. And it's there. Share that schedule with your spouse. Super helpful. Taylor and I have access to our each other's calendars. For some reason, I can't get his on my phone, but I can get it on my laptop and it's on there now. But it makes it so much easier to make plans or be like, oh, he's like, oh, Steph's really busy on Tuesday. Tuesday nights, I'm going to cook. Super awesome, super helpful. And I appreciate it so much. So sharing those schedules with you, the people in your life, maybe your older kids and stuff like that too, so they can see, can be incredibly helpful and just take a lot off your plate. The more we can take stress out, the easier it's going to be for you to like cognitively function better. And it's going to help with those cortisol levels and help with your estrogen levels as well. The next one is sleep. This one's always hard. People are like, oh, if you tell me to go to bed earlier, I'm going to be mad at you. Yes, that's one way to do it, but we really want to make sure we're focusing on good quality sleep. So one thing that you can do before bed is take magnesium. It's super great for overall body relaxation. Having a bedtime snack that has carbs and then either some protein or fat in it is incredibly helpful. And people always panic when we say this. It doesn't have to be a big snack. Like 200 calories is great. Make sure there's some fiber and slow digesting carbs in there. So that can be like oats, popcorn, things like that. My favorite bedtime snacks are yogurt with protein powder and a little bit of granola. You typically want to avoid fruit because it does digest quite quickly, and we don't want to have a blood sugar spike and drop, and then you wake up at nighttime. Oatmeal with protein powder, great option. Also one of my favorites. You can do a turkey pepperoni stick and some popcorn. Love that one. Meat, cheese, and crackers, also super great. There's so many things that you could have. Toast and eggs. Like the options are honestly endless. Try it. You will sleep so much better, I promise. It is amazing. have it like an hour before bedtime, have like a wind down bedtime routine. Again, it will help you so much. And what the carbs do before bed is it lowers your cortisol levels and increases melatonin, which is your sleepy hormone. So it actually helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. And the higher fiber and the protein in your snack is also going to help stabilize your blood sugars and slow down gastric emptying. So how quickly the food comes out of your stomach, which then allows for no blood sugar spike. Because if the blood sugars spike and then drop, cortisol is going to come up. You're going to wake up at nighttime. And typically, like some women, depending on severity of symptoms, can make hot flashes worse or night sweats. So you want to make sure that it's got a little bit more fiber, slower digesting, and it's great that way. And again, establish a good bedtime routine, having a hot shower before bed, maybe reading a book, doing some stretching, trying to avoid screens, keep the room nice and cool, keep it nice and dark. You know, the classic tips and tricks to help with your sleep. We just got to implement them a little bit better. The next one is rethink your relationship with weight. There is nothing wrong by wanting to improve your body composition. We all want to do it, but we have to stop giving the power to the number on the scale. So it's funny, Taylor and I were talking about this on this morning, actually. So when I'm recording this, it's the week that we got back from Nashville. I didn't track for 4 days. I wanted to fully enjoy my time there. Nashville has incredible food. I am a foodie. I absolutely enjoyed myself. I weighed myself on the Monday we got back. And Taylor can tell you, I had like a meltdown probably for 5 minutes. I was like, I shouldn't have done that. The scale went up 4 pounds. I can't believe it. I'm so upset. Like that was dumb. And then that morning I listened to my podcast that came out and it was about weight fluctuation. So traveling, very hard on your body, results in bloating. I was dehydrated. I had a lot more salt in my meals than usual. We ate out a lot. My food routine was off. I hadn't pooped in like 3 days. So then I just went back to my regular routine, did some walking, ate normally. I'm back to like 2,100 calories, my normal maintenance, which is actually a little below my maintenance, but maintenance. Focusing on my protein, drinking lots of water. And in 2 days, the scale has dropped over 2 pounds. So you don't need to panic. The scale is just a number. We have to stop giving it so much value. But again, I'm the same. I didn't feel bloated. I didn't look in the mirror and feel bad, but I hopped on the scale and I instantly ruined my mood. And it took me some time to be like, no, it's fine. It's good. It's going to be okay. It's just a number. And I don't regret enjoying myself on vacation. That was very important to me to enjoy the moment and be present and spend that time with Taylor. And it was a great vacation. So I don't regret any of it, but I do take responsibility for the fact that I didn't make the best food choices while I was there. I was fully in the moment and enjoying it. And I just take responsibility for that. So yeah, the scale went up because I had more salt. My routine was off, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. You just have to be okay with the choices that you made. There's no point in beating yourself up. Learn from it, move forward, get right back on track. Don't punish yourself for indulging a little bit. That is totally normal. That is totally fine. And the scale is just a number. You're allowed to want to change and still love who you are. So take that little tidbit with you. That'll give you, again, it'll take a lot of stress off your plate when you think about it that way. It's just the scale gives you a single moment in time and that's it. The next one is changing your training. It's no longer working. That means it's time to change. So focus on building strength and focus on recovery. So a strong body will not only improve your confidence, your body image, your bone density, but also your overall health. So the way we're approaching our fitness routines now should be focusing on getting stronger. So we want to lift a weight 6 to 8 times. And if you feel like you could lift it more than 10 times, it's a sign to up your weights. Drop those baby pink weights. We're moving on up. Then you're going to sit there for 2 minutes doing nothing. You're just going to sit. You're going to recover. You're going to people watch. You're going to just chill. Then you're going to lift that weight again 6 to 8 times. And again, if you can lift it more than 10, time to up that weight. We need that extra recovery time to help with cortisol. But also once we go through perimenopause and menopause, estrogen decreases. We have a harder time accessing energy stores. So we actually need more rest in between our exercises. And again, focusing on getting stronger is going to help stimulate muscle growth. And no, you will not end up looking like the Hulk because during perimenopause and menopause, it is incredibly hard to build and maintain muscle mass because our body goes into what we call a more catabolic state. It wants to break down protein, so muscle, for energy. And if we're in a low calorie, low carb state, doing a ton of high intensity exercise, cardio, lighter weights, doing cardio with our weights, basically, working out fasted, eating low calorie, all those things. That's also going to put your body into a more catabolic state, wanting to break down muscle mass for energy. So then you end up busting your butt, working really hard, being super sweaty and getting no results from it. And that's why. Because you're sending a double whammy signal to your body to break down muscle, and you're not allowing enough time to recover. So focus on getting stronger. That is the key to improving your body composition. The next one is positive self-talk. Replace the negativity that may be currently taking place. This is so hard to do. So hard to do. But it takes practice. And this is because the way we talk to ourselves makes a huge difference. Whether we talk to ourselves positively or negatively, our brain is very good at providing us information and proof that either is true. So you got to pick which one you want to influence more. Do you want to have a positive self-talk or a negative self-talk? The more you tell yourself that you're fat, you're ugly, you're weak, you're whatever, your body will play back proof that yes, that's true, that's true, that's true. If you tell yourself, I am strong, I am confident, I am making progress, talk to yourself in a positive way, your brain will give you proof that those things are in fact true. That's how our body works. And again, it takes to counteract one negative self-thought, you need 8 positive ones. That was done in a study. That's crazy. So we need to be more conscious about the way that we talk about ourselves and really put that forward, because self-talk is so powerful. It can be really emotional. I always tell the story about how I never told myself I was proud and never said those words out loud. I didn't do that until I opened my clinic for the first time. I remember sitting there by myself. Everybody left that had helped me set up. I sat there alone, cross-legged on the floor of my clinic, and I just cried and I said the words out loud. I'm so proud of myself. I did it. And that moment was a very monumental turning point for me, where I felt so much better about myself being able to talk about myself that way. So change positive self-talk. It doesn't have, even if you don't love your body, there are things about your body that you appreciate and that you love. I appreciate the independence that I have compared to my grandfather, who was in a wheelchair for the last 10 years of his life. I am grateful and appreciative that I haven't had to have any surgeries yet. I am grateful and appreciative that I am able to have my balance and go to the gym, or whatever that may be, the strength to lift up my nieces and nephews, or, appreciate your body for what it can do and what it's provided for you, not just on the aesthetics. And it's okay to want to have those aesthetic goals, but you do have to appreciate your body for what it provides for you now. The next one is dress yourself up. If you're having a bad day, do your hair, do your makeup, put on clothes that make you feel good. Because just performing 2 things a day that help you feel good about yourself can just positively impact our thought process throughout the day significantly. Think about putting on your favorite outfit. You're just in a good mood literally all day. So do things that make you feel good. And lastly, I really want you to think about menopause in general. It gets such a bad rap that it's such a negative time in our life that you just have to survive this. No, our body is changing. This is a new opportunity to really learn about yourself, what you actually enjoy. Start taking time for yourself. Usually in this time in our life, we're becoming empty nesters, or our kids are older, so our life can change. It's a time to discover new hobbies and things to do with your partner. It might be a time that you might be able to travel more, spend more time with your parents if you still have them around. Really use this as a time of self-discovery. Figure out what you actually want and go for it, because it's never too late. Do the things that you love and do them often. So yes, you're struggling with cognition. Yes, it's because estrogen is low. If you can get your stress under control, if you can eat enough food, if you can have enough carbohydrates in your diet to buffer those stressors, the more stressed you are, the more carbs that you need. So if you are struggling and don't really know where to start, or it just seems super overwhelming and you just really don't know what to do, just send me a message on Facebook. It is the best way to get a hold of me. I'm always happy to chat, assess you for free, figure out if you're eating enough, not eating enough, what's lacking, where issues may be lying, how you can move forward. I am always happy to have those conversations. It is like my favorite thing to do. And again, if you want free trainings, we do them in our Facebook group every single week. We do different topics on hormones and fitness and exercise and mindset. So if you want more like banter back and forth, you can watch those live, ask questions live. We do Q&As. So again, if you want to join that, you can join the Facebook group. It'll be in the show notes below. And if you found this helpful or inspirational, or you know someone who's struggling with like mental cognition as they've started going through perimenopause and menopause, please share it. We appreciate it so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.